Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I just want to share with you like a quick new homeowner, new home buyer update. As a lot of you know, we closed on our very first home that we actually built back in December of 2019. So just about 4 months ago. And I just want to walk you guys through the process for, furnishing the home and decorating the home. If I'm not being asked about how to prep for the home buying process or get approved for the home, then I'm getting questions about what budget did we have for decorating and furnishing and all of those types of things. So if you're interested in hearing about that, then please keep watching. So we started looking for our first home around spring of last year. So around this time last year. And as you guys know, we were not actually going to move forward with like the actual home buying process. We were going to finish paying off my husband's student loans. However, for a lot of different reasons, we went ahead and we bought what is now our first home. So we actually had our design appointment in July of last year, and then they broke ground on the home in August of last year, and then they started building the home in August of last year. It was finished at the end of December, so it took them about 4 months to build the home. Whenever we went under contract, that is when we really started to think about and to try to process, what are the things that we're gonna need immediately? What are we gonna replace? Our creative juices started to flow. We started to prep and plan for actually moving into the house. So included in the home, we knew we were gonna get a dishwasher, a stove, and also a microwave. We knew that they were gonna be stainless steel, and we knew that they were gonna be stainless steel with elements of black, because we saw some of the model homes and they were already telling us, what they were gonna purchase, what type of appliances were already gonna be put into the home, so they already knew that. So of course, the one major kitchen appliance that left was a refrigerator in our apartment. Our apartment had a refrigerator, so we had been using that for years, so we didn't need a refrigerator, but we knew that we would need one whenever we moved into the home. So that was the first item that we prioritized, and that was pretty much a no-brainer. The next furniture piece that we started to think about was our sectional, or where we would sit in the living room. Now, I'm not really big on sectionals, but my husband is, so that's why we have a sectional. That's why we had a sectional in the apartment. That sectional had probably been ruined for a couple of years, I'm not gonna lie. We just never really replaced it because we were on a debt freedom journey. Replacing a sectional wasn't really on the top of our to-do list, and so we just kept using it until it pretty much was no more. So we knew that was replacing that sectional, or that the living room furniture was one of the things that we were for sure gonna do whenever we moved into the new home. And I feel like there was a push for that, or an emphasis on that, because when people come to our house, because people were going to be visiting and we were going to be having shenanigans and stuff, especially in the first couple of months, housewarming parties and all of that, we knew people needed somewhere to sit. So that's pretty much why we prioritized getting new furniture for the living room. The next major appliance that we could think of that we would need were a washer and a dryer. So we already had a washer and dryer. It was run down and falling apart as well. That actually made it over here to the new house, as opposed to the old sectional. It actually was thrown out on moving day, but the washer and dryer set actually made it over here. But there were so many complications. It was already like falling apart and just super old anyway. We literally had purchased that off of Facebook Marketplace for like $150, I think, for the actual set. So that tells you the quality of the washer and the dryer. But we were using it. It was working really fine. The person that we bought it from actually fixed and sold washers and dryers. So anytime we needed a repair, we just called him and he would come fix it, of course, for a small fee. So we needed a new washer and dryer set because ours was falling apart and it just was not in good shape. So that was another thing that we went ahead and prioritized. It was important for us to actually list those items out and categorize those, or prioritize in the manner in which they were needed, and that we would get the items. Refrigerator being the most important, sectional being the second most important, considering ours was completely ruined, and then the washer and dryer, we thought that would be the least important of those three, and that we would replace our old set whenever we could. So we started to search the internet, search for good brands and affordable brands, because that's pretty much my preferred way of buying something. If I'm gonna buy it, it needs to be at a decent price, and it needs to be something that's gonna last for a long time. So whatever I can find that's durable and the most reasonably priced. That's pretty much what I'm gonna buy, as well as my husband. First up was the refrigerator. So we started looking at different brands and their durability and longevity, the style, the aesthetic, the color. We started looking at all of those things. Did we want a side-by-side? Did we want a French door? Did we want like the regular stainless steel? Did we want black stainless steel? Did we want Whirlpool or GE or, you know, Samsung? What kind of refrigerator did we want? Eventually we landed on the regular stainless steel. The black stainless steel was honestly pretty classy, but because our other appliances were going to be primarily that regular stainless steel, we went with the regular stainless steel. We went with a French door because we thought that that was an overall good look, and we heard, you know, great things about the French doors. Obviously, people are going to tell you great things about their side-by-side or their French door or whatever the case is, but for us, due to our research, we thought that a French door would fit our needs. And we landed on Whirlpool for a number of reasons, mainly because I read a lot of good reviews about Whirlpool and the durability and longevity. So when you're in the home buying process, it is strongly discouraged to do anything that might change your credit score or your credit report and all of that. So it's advised that you stay away from financing and doing anything like that. So that is what we did. Eventually Black Friday came and we found a really, really good deal on the refrigerator that we have now. And so I ran off to Home Depot and I purchased the refrigerator in cash. Like I said, that was the end of November. So I went ahead and scheduled the delivery for the date that we were expected to close. It wasn't the date that we were expected to close. It was like a couple of days after that, which I'm not saying run out and buy any furniture or big appliances by any means, because mainly you want to wait until you get into your place so you can look around and see what you want. But I am going to say that those delivery dates are flexible. You can change those, push those back. Just make sure that, you know, you're reading the guidelines or whatever for, or the cancellation policy or the delivery policy or whatever. So the delivery dates are pretty flexible, honestly, especially after you've already paid for the item. So I wasn't really stressed about that at all. Obviously, this is a house that we built, so we were able to kind of come and go as we pleased. So it was important for us to measure the actual cubby that the refrigerator would be going in, so we can make sure that we bought a refrigerator that would actually fit, because that's a mistake that a lot of people make. I will say that I kept overlooking this refrigerator, and that is because our water dispenser is inside of the refrigerator and our ice dispenser is inside of the freezer. So it's a, you know, an interesting situation that we have going on, but we absolutely love the refrigerator. We've yet to have any issues, and we're glad we made the purchase before moving into the house, because that was one less thing that we had to worry about. Now, obviously, we didn't have that same sense of urgency with the living room furniture, but we had been going to and visiting different furniture stores prior to us actually moving in, and that is when we landed on the couch, or the sectional that we actually landed on, and that sectional came from Ashley Furniture. Same thing applied for the sectional. We did take the measurements inside of the living room where it would be going, so that we can make sure that whenever we curated the sectional, because you can put different pieces, you know, you can basically just create your own custom look for the sectional. We wanted to make sure that it would actually fit comfortably in the area where we would be putting it. And we actually technically put the sectional on layaway, which was my first time doing anything on layaway, but we did that because we didn't want to fully pay for a sectional before we moved into the home. That seemed kind of silly, and we wanted to just lock in the price at that lowest price that we had. Whenever we locked it in, it was at the lowest that it had been. So that's why we locked it in. But as the weeks went by, I kept checking and checking and checking, and then I eventually saw it for like $300 less, which definitely was the lowest that we had seen it. So I actually went into the store, had them rework the numbers, and I locked it in at that new lower price. Eventually, a couple of days before we were set to move in, keep in mind that we had our closing costs and down payment, all the money that was associated with moving into the home, already secured. Like, we already had that saved up, and we knew how much we were going to need, because that's something that you find out pretty early on. And assuming nothing goes wrong and everybody's on top of their game, you know, the closing costs should be the closing costs, or the down payment should actually be that down payment. So we felt pretty comfortable with going ahead and paying for the sectional. So I did that. I think we did that like a couple of days, maybe a week or so before we were set to move in. and we scheduled the delivery. Now, because Ashley does have a fee if you try to redeliver and you don't cancel or, you know, reschedule your delivery, I think like 48 hours in advance, we did go ahead and wait a little longer, really close to when we were actually closing. It was probably 2 days before we were going to close whenever we went and paid off the sectional and scheduled the delivery, because they do want you to pay for the item in full before they schedule a delivery, which makes perfect sense. So sectional was secured. It was actually scheduled for the same day as the refrigerator, but there was some kind of issue where I had to change the delivery date for the sectional, but it came like the day after the refrigerator. Like I said, the washer and the dryer set actually made it to the home, but there was just so much drama. It was falling apart. We didn't have the right parts because that was, you know, the setup that it had going was for like an older place, which our apartment building was built like way back in the day. And of course, this is a brand new home. So pieces that we had to replace, it was just a whole bunch. So we were like, we're gonna replace it anyway. Let's just go ahead and replace it. So I started searching high and low on the interwebs for a good laundry set, a good washer and dryer set rather, and I landed on the Samsung that we have now. What really drew me to it was the affordability. The drum for the washer is really big, so it can wash a king set, which I've, you know, I can attest that because I've washed our cover, like our bedroom set, the sheets and the pillowcases, all of that, and there's plenty of space. So that was about a week or so after we moved in. So I went skipping off to Best Buy because that was the lowest price that I saw. Plus we have a Best Buy credit card, and if we buy something from Best Buy, then we get cash back points. So I went there, I got the washer and dryer, and that was delivered a couple of days after we moved in as well. Not that this is super important, but I do want to mention that we did buy our king bedroom bed. Is really just the bed and the mattress. So I guess the bedroom set, but not like a dresser or, you know, side tables or any nightstands or anything like that. Just the mattress and the bed. We purchased those items off of Facebook Marketplace, which can be a little sketchy, but because of the fact that they were practically new and they were in a nice clean home and blah, 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 we kind of went ahead and went through with it. Plus we knew that we were going to be like disinfecting and everything while we were in the apartment before we even moved it into the house. So we bought that king set probably like October or November as well, and that was a steal. Now that wasn't that important, although we did go ahead and purchase that beforehand as well, because we bought it off Facebook Marketplace and there was gonna be no waiting. If we would have bought that stuff full price, it would have been upwards of $2,000, and we got it for like $700. So because of that, we went ahead and purchased it, but it wasn't really super imperative at all. We knew we wanted to upgrade our bedroom set from the queen set that we had, and we knew that we wanted to put the queen set in the guest room, but it wasn't any real big rush. So that's something that we did, but it wasn't really too important. So for all of the things, excluding the king bedroom set because that wasn't important, we spent about $4,000 to $4,500 on those pieces that we have prioritized. So those were the items that we chose to prioritize, and that is why we chose to prioritize them. Like I said, I get a lot of questions about how much we saved up and how we even, you know, came to the decision about what we were going to upgrade or purchase before we moved in or when we moved in, and that's pretty much the rationale, our rationale behind purchasing all of those pieces. We already had a dining room set, even though we knew we would be upgrading. Already had office desks and all of that, even though I knew that I would be upgrading. We already had bar stools and things like that. So everything else we pretty much already had. The only items that I've really replaced so far are the bar stools and the breakfast nook table and chairs. And then I've purchased other pieces, but I haven't gotten rid of anything, and I honestly don't plan to. By upgrading items, I kind of mean just that. I don't mean like getting rid of other items. The only thing we've gotten rid of, the two things that we got rid of so far completely, were the sectional and the washer and dryer set. Everything else we still have. We're either using it as a backup or we're using it how it's meant to be used and how it was used in the apartment. So we still have a long way to go, but I just wanted to talk you guys through that. Like I said, I get a lot of questions about that. If you have any other questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down in the comment section so we can chat about those and I can answer those questions. But I just wanted to share a little 4-month furniture decorating update with you guys, and I also want to let you guys know that it is important to me to furnish the home and to make it functional, and we have done pretty much no decorating whatsoever, and I'm 100% okay with it. This process is moving pretty slowly, much more slowly than I ever thought, but you know, large spending has pretty much been put on pause. For some of us, you know, excess spending has been put on hold for all of us who are, you know, struggling with dealing with the pandemic. So again, just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.